All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Jess, and welcome to the Sunflower Path. I am doing a reading for Halloween, focusing on the messages from the other side. So we'll look at your higher self message, your shadow self message, messages from your spirit guides, and a ancestor or loved one message. I'll be using the Shadowscape Tarot with its Starlight Oracle, and I'll be looking at the oracles here. This is pile 1, Abundance, with the mushroom, and I'll put timestamps down below. And each pile does have a card underneath that I haven't looked at yet that I pre-shuffled for. So this is pile 2, Magnificence, with the fairy dragon. Pile 3 with Friendship and a Halloween pumpkin. And Affection with the Sven, I think they're called, or gnomes. The little witch here. And yeah, I'll give you a moment to choose. This is pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, and pile 4. And again, you can look at numbers below if they add up to anything, or if you see your number in the timestamps, because it's something I also do. Perfect. All right, then I will start with pile 1. Okay, pile 1, I'm going to first read your oracle with abundance for your messages from the other side. The flowers, I think it's called chrysanthemum. I'm not going to try to pronounce that because I'm horrible with pronunciations. And I'll look at this last. But looking at your oracle, this card is a reminder of all you have in abundance in your life. Look beyond material possessions and money and include everything that makes your soul feel full. You may have a multitude of friends and loved ones or a wealth of little joys that you experience every day. Take this moment to acknowledge and thank the universe for all the bounty in your life. Show gratitude for your current abundances and be ready to accept new ones. Know that you walk through every day full in heart, spirit, and life. So ask yourself, what positives do I experience abundantly? For the type of flower, they were cultivated to spread in Japan from the 8th century, where it was adopted as the imperial seal of Japan and to describe the emperor's throne. It was brought to the United States during the 1700s as a ornamentation. Many varieties of shapes and colors have been created since then, and the entire plant can also be used in cooking, with the flowering head used as tea and the leaves used as greens. So it's usually growing in most of Asia, and it's celebrated throughout Eastern art and festivals for thousands of years and is considered sacred today. I thought that was really interesting that that it originally began in Asia. So you may have an Asian background, not just cultural wise, but perhaps you also moved to Asia a while back and now you identify with them more. Just in case, I have a lot of travelers who watch the videos. All right. So, how it ties for Halloween, I would say, with the message of abundance, and Halloween and autumn in general are usually associated with the harvest. So, you may be reaping what you sow, and you may have cultivated those friendships and good connections over time, and now you're enjoying that space. But let's take a look at, you can see how old this thing is. I've had this since, I think, since 2012. I've been reading for a while, just never never on YouTube. All right, so your higher self image, or sorry, not image, but message. That's a bit messy. Yep. It only go together. All right. Oh. Higher self message. And I want to look at your shadow self as well, because they kind of tie in with one another. Eight of Wands. Okay, so let's look at these two first. No, it's still in the way. All right, with this being your higher self and this being your shadow self, this may feel like your higher self is saying, even, sorry, you may be feeling stuck lately in your manifestations. You may be feeling like things haven't exactly been going your way for a bit. Like perhaps you've been experiencing financial instability or delays in new beginnings, or perhaps bad investments. I think it's also trying to encourage you to overcome procrastination, perhaps, or perhaps you haven't been doing any practical planning as of late. So you're going to move from spiritual and intellectual ideas, perhaps, to create more tangible, physical success. Like really look at your opportunities around you and take a chance. Like you have more abundance coming towards you than you realize, but you need to take those actions. And that might be tied in with your shadow self, because the shadow self are things that we hide from ourselves. It might be like our hidden flaws or insecurities. And perhaps you are afraid to take action. So maybe you overthink, because the Eight of Wands is all about communication, journeys, and fast progress. Maybe you've been stalling on whatever abundance that may be coming your way. Maybe you're hesitant in creating that abundance. Like maybe you feel like you don't deserve it, or you don't trust success unless you really, really had to work hard for it, and not something that's a bit more easygoing. Maybe you're not the kind of person that enjoys networking, because they feel like that's kind of almost, what is the word now, cringy. I haven't been in the United States for the last 10 or so years, so I don't know what the new slang is. But yeah, perhaps you find networking to be very uncomfortable. So your higher self could be saying, look, you really need to open up in order to take advantage of the abundance that are coming your way. Really put those ideas into action. And that's your spiritual side. Now to look at the messages coming from the other side. So loved ones or spirit guides or ancestors. Oops. All right, so from your spirit guides, and let's see if any loved ones want to come forward. Sorry, a whole bunch of them fell. Two messages come out here, and they're both in reversed. So I'm wondering if more than one wants to come out. So with the Four of Wands here reversed, this is a unstable home. I'm wondering if your spiritual guides are letting you know that there may be more stability coming through, or a sense of belonging. Because usually this is a milestone that's been reached. But maybe they're saying you need to address a lack of community, like since you don't feel like you belong anywhere or with any certain group, to build a stronger sense of who you are and where you belong. Going back to the whole, I maybe have a lot of travelers in this pile, especially since the world shows up here. And you may identify with an Asian culture. Perhaps you don't feel like you really fit in with that culture you moved to, or maybe you moved around homes a lot when you were younger, or even now as an adult. But it does come across as your spirit guides want you to address any issues dealing with the home life. Perhaps there was a divorce or a breakup with your parents. Or perhaps a break in community, like you're starting to feel like an outcast. It does, yeah, it does come out as a home conflict. So I'm wondering if the spirit guides or your spirit guides are saying to really look into your home life and what kind of home you want to build for yourself, so you can create your own sense of belonging. I'm getting like an image of a turtle on with the shell on its back. Like they carry their homes wherever they go. If this is someone who moves around a lot, maybe learning that you yourself are your own home. Maybe there's a lot of struggles with inner peace and self-esteem issues. Maybe that's why you don't reach out too much. to other people, and you feel like you have to go everything alone and on your own. So really work on, well, I would recommend anyway, to really work on a strong inner foundation. Look at your financial insecurities, because this could deal with financial insecurities as well, with like a lack of manifestations. Or if you've got any personal health issues, and really look at your inner strength and sense of self. I don't know if my pile number 1 has a really strong sense of self, because there may have been a lot of home life issues that kind of, I don't want to say destroy your confidence as a child. I don't know if this pile really felt like they were at fault for all the conflicts that came up in their home life. So maybe take a good look at how the past still impacts you right now. And okay, so I'm going to look at what your loved ones or ancestors are saying. It sounds like the Wheel of Fortune reversed and the World reversed. That is a cycle. Like both of them are about cycles, karmic patterns, and they may be telling you to complete unfinished cycles, both of them, since with the Wheel of Fortune upright, this is inviting new cycles, new karmic um, lessons for this lifetime. And so does the World, because the World is a completion of one cycle. Sorry, not to point at that, but a completion of one cycle and successfully completing it to move on to the next one. And if they're both reversed, they may be asking you to finish whatever patterns are repeating, whatever cycles are repeating. Sometimes they can come across as you dating the same person, but has a different name. Getting married to the same kind of person your parents might have married, that was not a healthy decision. Or even a work environment, you keep attracting the same type of bosses or colleagues that showed up in childhood, and you didn't really confront those issues. Okay, so I do want to look at some of the oracle cards here and see if any further messages would want to pop out for pile 1. Although I do have like questions for my pile 1s then, because if this was an unstable home, but the abundance card mentioned that you are surrounded by loved ones, friends, I wondered if you stepped away from your home life to create a found family, but did not confront the issues that were repeating in your family in that sense. Destiny. It is not, oh, sorry. It is not in the stars, but in yourself. That's interesting because both of these, well, the Wheel of Fortune definitely speaks of destiny a lot. So the message really does seem to come across as, you've got your own life in your hands and to take charge and responsibility of the things that you are experiencing. So the cycle can end here. Um, yeah, because I really think you've got more power than you realize with journeys and progress here, that your shadow self is showing up as things that you may not be confronting because you're procrastinating, or probably not wanting to deal with all that conflict. You want to move away from it, but you need to face it head on. So let's see what your other card. I am watching from afar, your social media in person too shy to approach. Well, that's interesting. Your spirit guides and your loved ones or ancestors are watching you from afar in person. So maybe you sense their presence a lot. I wouldn't really go with social media per se. What the ones that stick out the most is the in person. They're too shy to approach you. So maybe you only get like a whiff of their scent, maybe like a certain shampoo or bath soap that they used to have. And then they're watching from a distance. So you still sense them, but they're not approaching you because they don't know how you would react, especially if this is a loved one. Maybe you guys didn't make up before they passed. So perhaps maybe they feel guilty a little bit and they wish they could tell you in person, like, look, don't do what I did. Um, I learned that maybe you deserve better than the environment that you grew up in, and I hope you break that cycle so the pain ends with you. And hopefully, this helps you during the Halloween Samhain. Probably not pronouncing that correctly. Um, I don't know why that came up. I mean, that is the original name of Halloween, but maybe someone here is Irish. Uh, yeah, just make sure that you're confronting and ending cycles. I have a feeling most of you are wanting to step away, but maybe procrastinating about it because it's a lot of hurt here. But there is abundance if you do. So I hope this helps, and thank you for watching. If this resonated with you, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. And I'll pull up pile 2. Pile 2 was the dragon one. Okay. Hello, pile 2. Welcome to your reading. I will first read your oracle card and then look at your highest self, your shadow self, so your spiritual elements, and then your spirit guides and ancestors or loved ones that may want to come through. And then your oracle cards here that I will pull up in case any other additional messages would want to come through. And then your message here. All right, so your card is Magnificence. You got the bird of paradise and the common mother of pearl. This immediately makes me wonder if perhaps this pile has mothers or mother figures, maybe grandmothers that have passed on that may come through during the reading. All right, so messages for your or from your higher self. And then a message from your shadow self. Perfect. Okay. So already your higher self is someone who very much is like they have incredibly high standards. This is the King of Swords, and they're known for their intellect and their ethical values. This is someone who communicates very well, but they can be kind of sharp with their words. This is a higher self that uses self control to overcome life challenges and obstacles to obtain what they want. They can come across as kind of cold to others, but your higher self is essentially it's saying that to use your intellect and rational side to obtain what you want. Make logical decisions and speak your truth so that others understand who you are and what you're about and what you're willing to tolerate and not willing to tolerate. Maintain your standards in your actions and how you treat other people, your relationships and friendships and bonds with relatives. So that's might be an air sign. Some of you might be air signs here. But it's also a call to be honest with yourself and honest with others. Just make sure to be tactful when you're honest. I know an unevolved air sign can be a bit more on the brutal side of brutal honesty rather than just honest. Make sure that your arguments with people or even your communication with people is founded in fairness and a logical solution for everyone to benefit from. Now, your shadow self, things to work on that may not even be obvious to you, or maybe you are very much aware, but have difficulties in confronting or working on, rather. This is usually when someone throws himself into a lot of work to avoid emotional issues. Kind of like you overwork yourself, you distract yourself with work to avoid anything that's happening in your personal life. You might define your self-worth tied up to how productive you are, or how much you work, and how much you achieve. And that identity is tied to your work rather than things that you enjoy. So your shadow self may be saying, work on the things that you love too, hobbies that maybe you haven't been really given attention to because you've been working so hard. It might be even a fear of not being enough in your relationships, enough at work. Maybe there's some sort of imposter syndrome of where you are. Oh, I forgot to read your oracle card. That just came to me. But I was thinking magnificence. I think it's interesting that if there's an imposter syndrome here, but your oracle card is saying magnificence, that you are magnificent. So it might be a reminder to think of yourself as someone who is extraordinary. So let me actually bring out the book that I was supposed to read earlier on. Magnificence. Magnificence is defined as impressively beautiful, elaborate, and striking. This card challenges you to determine what it means to live a majestic life and to actively go out and live it. How can you live fully and marvelously? Do the small things and the large that will bring you to magnificence without any care for what others think. Perhaps you put more focus on what other people think of you, um, and incorporate more of what you feel to be glorious into your daily life, so that your life is not just great but magnificent. So in what ways am I magnificent? So that is interesting, that your shadow self is pointing that you may not feel good enough. You may not feel like you belong at the workplace, that people there are more qualified to be there. But your oracle card is saying, no, you are special as you are. And in what ways can you bring that back into your life so you can remind yourself of how great you are? Um, yeah. And your higher self is already, maybe your higher self is also saying, be fair to yourself. Maybe you're too hard on yourself. All right, so I'm going to look at the other side, what your spirit guides and what your ancestors or loved ones have to say. Well, that wanted to fall on its own. All right, ancestors. Ones. Ten of Wands. Okay. Spirit guides. That's the Seven of Cups. That is a message of you have more available to you than you realize. With Seven of Cups, there's a lot of options here. You don't know what's in each cup, so you don't know what you're choosing until it's kind of like too late. But the spirit guides are basically saying you've got choices here. You may be lost in sort of a fantasy that you might be just stuck here, stuck in this, but there is more available to you. So they're saying you have a lot of potential. Use your imagination and fantasies to create ideas and create a different reality for yourself. It might also be telling you not to escape into daydreams. If you're someone who, like, say you're at work, but your mind is somewhere else, you just fantasize a lot. Um, and if that's the case, can you turn those fantasies into a reality? Like, let's say you're at work and you daydream about working in a different job that brings you more joy or stability, um, where you feel more appreciated. And can you make that a reality? Be careful of perhaps having distractions in your life that um, may pull you away from what actually matters to you. Um, be careful of your choices, I guess. Don't get lost in wishful thinking. You know what's coming to mind is oh goodness, I know it's desire backwards, but the mirror in Harry Potter, I think it's the first film where you just sit there and you can sit there for hours looking into the mirror, thinking of all the things that you would want. And Dumbledore says, it's not good to live on just dreams and forget reality. That's probably not the direct quote, but that's essentially what he means. Like, it's not good to just focus on dreams and then forget to live. So I think your spiritual guides are telling you, there are certain dreams that you should be making a reality, certain changes in your environment, maybe your workplace or your connections to people that no longer align with you or make you feel like you're not good enough. And certain things to don't get distracted or stuck in wishful thinking. Really take those actions and make the right decisions for yourself. The 10 of Wands here from a ancestral or loved ones, I already think that perhaps this is someone who passed on and wasn't happy with their life choice, in the sense that maybe this is someone who overworked themselves and was surrounded by a lot of burdens and doesn't want you to do the same thing. Kind of like when you hear messages from people who have aged and they're in like nursing homes, and you ask them what is their biggest regrets, and they wish they spent more time with loved ones than really sacrificing themselves at work. So their message to you is, release yourself from burdens of responsibilities that crush your soul. It's okay to ask for help if you're feeling overwhelmed, to let go of others people's expectations. Again, if you're too focused on what other people think of you, um, practice self-care so you don't burn out. Prioritize what actually matters to you so you don't collapse under the weight of everything. Because you can see upright, she is, or this fairy is, carrying the world on top of her back, and you may feel that way. You may feel that heaviness that comes from feeling responsible for everything, but not feeling good enough and not feeling qualified enough to really deal with it. So it overwhelms you. Perhaps this is also saying to learn how to delegate certain tasks to your coworkers, or ask your boss for more time on certain deadlines so you don't burn out. It's okay to ask for help again. So I'm going to pull out any further messages for you. And then I'll do the card underneath your oracle. New beginnings. From chaos comes calm. I'm wondering if you started a new job. For those who have a new beginning, or maybe they moved to a new place to start said new job. Or maybe you guys, I don't know, since this is a common mother of pearl, maybe you're new mothers or new parents, and therefore there's a lot that feels new and overwhelming, and you want to ask for help, and you should be asking for help so you don't feel overwhelmed. If that's the case, maybe in those instances where you're starting a new job or you're a new parent, like parenthood, maybe you're questioning your choices. Maybe you're looking at the reality of having that new job or becoming a parent wasn't what you expected it to be. That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't really think about parenthood until now. But from chaos comes calm. So they're saying, really look into asking for help so you don't feel overwhelmed. Because there can be a better way to do things if it's saying chaos comes, like from chaos comes calm. Oh, come on. Companionship. I need you in my life. Please keep in touch. Oh, so this immediately comes across as a loved one that passed on. I need you in my life. Please keep in touch. Perhaps you lost someone that you needed guidance from, like if it's a mother or a grandmother figure. Maybe you lost them too soon. And if going back to this whole parenthood thing, you became a parent and you have so many questions you want to ask your mom or your dad, because it feels strongly focused on parenthood, that you wish you could ask for advice from. Companionship. Maybe this is also a friendship that was like a mother figure or father figure too. I say father figure as well because some fathers that I've personally met have feminine energy to them. Some of them could be single fathers, and that's what's coming to mind here. But yeah, I hope this helps. I need you in my life. Please keep in touch. I think they're willing to speak with you if you want to reach out to them, light a candle for them. If you can just go outside and really speak out loud to them if you want. I feel like spirits are always with us. They don't really ever go per se. They just want, for a better way, for lack of a better way of saying this, they want your consent first of speaking with you and interacting with you. But yeah, I hope this helps. And if this resonated with you, please let me know. And I'll see you next time. Please like, share, subscribe, and take care. And I'll move on to pile 3. I'll leave that book there because I forgot this time around. Okay, I think pile 3 was the Halloween pumpkin here. with a friendship card. I think that's it. I don't think I put stones here. And yeah. All right, perfect. Hello, pile 3. Welcome to your pile. I'm going to first read your oracle card, and then at the end, I'll read the message I have for you. On this side, I will look at your higher self and shadow self. And then the next side, I will look at your spiritual guides and ancestors or loved ones that may have messages for you. I will also pull out any additional oracle cards here. And then again, I'll read the message card here for last. All right? Okay. Okay, I'll start with those. Mix these. All right, your higher self is someone completely adventurous that is willing to explore the unknown, take a leap of faith, might be childlike or innocent, likes to believe the best in people. In terms of messages, though, I think they might be actually saying to do exactly that, leap into things with the faith that the universe has your back and will support you in your decisions. Trust your intuition. Really expand your freedom. I feel like you may be hesitating and taking risks and leaving past baggage behind to step into unknown territories. It's asking you to, begin with a fresh start. Live in the now rather than worrying about what's happening in the future or even what's going on in the past. Leave that past in the past. Be open to new experiences, and have like this fearlessness about you and how you approach life. Your shadow self tells me that you may have been hiding for a while in isolation. You may be a Virgo, because this is a card for a Virgo. I did it again. I was supposed to read this first. I'll get to it after this. But yeah, it's the Hermit, the Fool and the Hermit. So the Hermit tells me that you isolated yourself at first, just probably to heal from past burns. I feel like you may have burnt out to take care of yourself, but now you've been alone for so long that you don't know how to interact with other people anymore. Like you feel like you've lost your touch in how to approach people, how to make friends. You've been isolated for so long that you may not even want to interact with other people. You're comfortable in your own solitude, your own company. And perhaps you've forgotten that there is value in making friends and having relationships with others, because relationships do mirror back what we need to work on. So that's your higher self and shadow self. I was supposed to read this first, but I'll do that now. Oh, that's right. Your card is friendship. So that does that does tie in with perhaps you've been isolated for so long that you've forgotten how to make friends, or maybe you've lost interest in making friendships. All right. An honest and true friend will hold your happiness above the friendship and will inspire you to live to your highest potential. Nurture friendships that will hold you accountable to your highest being and be a soft place to land if you stumble. Step one is to be a good friend to yourself. Take responsibility for being the best person that you can be for your own sake. And as you do this, you will connect with people who will reciprocate. You deserve companions who will help you reach your goals, accept you as you are, and inspire the same traits in you. Recognize and prize these qualities in others. You may have to love those who do not have this kind of commitment to you from afar. So ask yourselves, who is my dearest friend or friends? How can I be a better friend? And what do I need from friends, and how can I help them meet their needs? Hmm. So this kind of tie in that perhaps you've been alone for too long and you need to venture out and make those new connections, make those friendships that are align with your values and your sense of freedom. Um, Maybe you're someone who likes to explore and learn more, so you can find friendships in those kinds of circles. Um, Interesting that that came out all together. All right, so I'll look at your spirit guides and ancestral or loved one messages. Okay, well, a couple of them fell. I just want a few, not a whole pack. Justice. Well, I think it's interesting that all the major cards are coming out so far. Maybe this means you really should be paying attention to the reading. Usually, when majors come out, when I do personal readings, it's usually when the cards want the message to be loud and clear because this person keeps repeating the same mistakes, or this has been going on for too long and they're not listening. Yeah, sun. I think something else wanted to come out with it too. What was this one? I think that makes it both visible. All right, cool. So Jess's card, as the spirit guides come through, equality is the first thing that comes to mind. Or finding equals, maybe. Their spirit guides might be saying, be fair. Be fair as you speak with others. Actions have consequences, and make decisions with integrity and hold yourself accountable. I also wonder, like, if you've been feeling burned out from people and that's why you sought out solitude to begin with. Maybe you got tired of people not taking accountability for their actions in your friendships. Because that's a thing. When you run into friendships that kind of drain you, you no longer want to have those friendships because you outgrew them or you're practicing boundaries here. So you cut them off. But your spirit guides are saying, seek the truth, which ties into the hermit here, because if you can see, he's holding up a lantern and um, seeking their own personal truths. So now, instead of seeking your own personal truth, see the truth in other people too. Take responsibility for your own actions, because even if said friend or friends didn't take accountability for what they did, but also ask yourself, did you take accountability for the mistakes you made? So act with honesty, act with fairness. Don't expect perfection. I'm thinking of the two signs that rule these cards. Like, this is associated with Virgo, that wants perfection. Although I think the Virgos in my life that I've met understand that perfection doesn't really exist. They have high standards, of course, and it's okay to have high standards. It's just perfection itself doesn't really exist. Whereas Libras, associated with justice here, is all about balance. So come into new friendships with the mindset that this should be balanced rather than perfect. Yeah, every action has a reaction. So maintaining that balance in your in the way that you interact with others is going to be important. Seek truth, integrity in your interactions with others. Be sincere. Although I think this person, my pile threes, do come across as someone is very sincere if they're incredibly childlike and almost innocent and looking at the best in people, and maybe in the past that was taken advantage of because you didn't want to believe that certain people would act and behave in certain ways that were harmful. But yeah, I think that's what your spirit guides are now pointing towards too, is just be balanced, be fair. Uh, if anything, karma might be getting back to the people who led you to want to isolate yourself. And like that has been brought to justice, whatever was done to you. But looking at your loved ones' messages or ancestral messages, this is the card of success, the sun here. Being optimistic, joy, success. And then it's accompanied by a queen of swords. I'm wondering if there was a female figure who was too sharp with her words, perhaps even jealous or cold or apathetic. It's funny because the Queen of Swords is usually associated with the Justice card because they can be an air sign as well. So I'm wondering if this person who passed on, this loved one or this ancestor, is also a female um, air sign that may have passed, or someone who um, was kind of ruthless with how she interacted with people, and maybe that was an influence on you, um, and how you were raised. if this was like a mother figure or a grandmother figure, or even a man who is more connected with his feminine side. Uh, what they may be saying right now is like, really look out for your joy, be happy. I want you to be happy. I want you to succeed in life. I want you um, find your joy and your happiness. I'm going to pull out some of the oracle cards here as well. Could be joy that is passed down through lineages as well. Well, we have 3 coming out. It's the most I've had so far. Okay. These came out in another pile, or other piles, I think. You may have been drawn to other piles in that case. But phases shine even when you're not whole. I think that might be from your loved one here, who wants that positive energy for you, wants you to succeed, wants you to have that joy in your life again. Embrace optimism, step into your power, especially with new beginnings here. From chaos comes calm. So really step into who you are. And destiny is not in the stars, but in yourself. Which I think is really tied here, actually. Oof. New beginnings. I think this is the best way for visually being able to see. Yeah. Loved one wants you to express your joy, being happy, being successful, to shine even when you don't feel like shining. Maybe you felt too lonely. Know that new beginnings are coming, and you have the ability to bring that about. I don't know why this specifically felt like here, though, with destiny, not in the stars, but in yourself, and seeking out balance and justice, maybe because of karmic retribution. And your last card is love. You are my light at the end of the tunnel. Oh, light, the sun. You are the light, my light at the end of the tunnel, my treasure. Oh, this is such a cute message. You are my light at the end of the tunnel. That might be also what they're saying. Then you are my light. You are my joy. You are my happiness. And they love you and they watch you from, from afar, from the other side. This might have been a loved one who really cherished you and made you feel cherished. Oh, that's so sweet. You are the light at the end of my tunnel. So maybe they're also saying, look, you've reached the end of your tunnel here, and it's time to embrace that light and step into, new relationships, new friendships, so you can experience that type of joy again. But yeah, that's all I have for you, pile 3. I hope this resonated with you. If it did, please like, share, subscribe, and let me know how this goes and enjoy your Halloween. Thank you very much. And I'll move on to pile 4. Ooh. That Leo, ooh, that Sun card could be associated with Leo since they are ruled by the Sun. I like to keep my camera going as I pull away cards because sometimes other messages come through. That's this one. And we have a little Sven's witch thing. And I'm just going to give these all a shuffle before we start. I think that's wild that the same cards came out for the last ones. Oh, look, the Sun flipped out. I guess it's reminiscence of the Sun card. It says rise to the occasion for my pals 3s. But all right. We're going to mix these, then we're going to shuffle the other ones as well. Oops. All right, that should be good. Good show. All right, welcome, pile 4. And I will read this card first if I remember to, because I've done that for the past 2 times. I've forgotten, so I'm going to put that here to remind myself. I will read your oracle card first. Then this message card will be last. I'll read 2 cards here, one from your highest self and then your shadow self. And then on this side will be more from your spirit guides and your ancestral or loved ones. And I also have like an additional oracle cards here in case more messages want to come through. And I'm just going to read that first. So this says affection. It is the rose in the Reverend's blue. I think that is the type of butterfly that dragon is. Affection. Okay. So think about those you feel great warmth toward. This could be family, friends, or anyone in your life you feel affection for. Is there a friend you haven't heard from in a while or a family member who could use a quick phone call? Take a moment to reflect on someone you feel genuine and sincere fondness toward and reach out to them. Let them know how you feel. We get so caught up in our daily lives that we often lose contact with people who matter to us. Be the one to instigate the reunion. So perhaps you haven't reached out to people in a while. Get in touch with those you adore and be ready to receive that affection in return. So ask yourself, who do I know has great affection for me? And how does that make me feel? Okay, that's from the book here. So let's look at messages from your higher self and then a shadow self message. Oop, that was fast. You really do not want to be shuffled now, huh? Okay. And the shadow self. Lovers reversed. Okay. All right. So your higher self is the Five of Cups here. And your shadow self is the Lovers reversed. With the Five of Cups reversed, or sorry, not reversed, that's Five of Cups upright and the Lovers reversed. With the Five of Cups here from your higher self, though, your higher self is already telling me that you've faced a lot of disappointment, loss, and grief, perhaps even recently, and you focused on the pain of it so much that you're not recognizing that you still have other cups in your hands that are still full, but you're focusing on the broken cups here. So I'm wondering if this is a recent loss, like maybe you just lost a friend or you lost a family member that you were really close to. And you're still in the wave of that grief, and that you may need to confront those feelings of loss and regret and disappointment. Like you can honor your sadness. Like I'm not saying ignore it, um, or just get over it, because I mean, you can't just get over it. That's something that has to be processed and validated, and sadness can be what connects us to other people. Um, but acknowledge and process your grief and do it in a healthy way. Honor your feelings. Don't be consumed by that sense of loss. I know there are in some cultures or even some friendship groups where uh, people will celebrate the person's life rather than attend a funeral and just be miserable at that funeral. Um, Recognize and celebrate that person's life, that you were part of that life, but don't get too caught up in it. Like you do have other loved ones around you, a lot of friends who may be trying to reach out to you, to comfort you. Yeah, just healing from grief is what I'm feeling. And then the Lovers reversed here. This usually deals with like jealousies and projecting your own unresolved issues to other people, because the Lover's card is associated with Gemini and often with twins. They're mirror reflections of one another. So you may be projecting onto other people that maybe they don't care about your emotions or what you're experiencing. Um, you may be not communicating what your needs are and just expect them to know what those needs are instead. You may need to restore that balance of um, feelings and logic. Like, don't have a head versus heart um, issue come up instead, but respect both sides' need to be heard. And instead of trying to appease others, really pay attention to what unhealthy patterns are coming up now. Like maybe making decisions right now is really hard because you're more focused on your pain, or maybe you're making poor choices because they're born from pain and fear and guilt. Look at your relationships with other people, not just romantic ones, but bonds that you may have right now that may be unhealthy because they're not in balance. Perhaps you're giving more than what you are ready to give because right now you're still in the grieving process, or maybe you feel guilty for not giving more than what you can. This comes across as someone who gives a lot. That's what I'm getting right now. It's someone who continuously give even when they're burned out. It's okay if you want to ask for more affection from people, like because you're grieving in the state of loss. You may be in need of more of affection and validation of your feelings right now because perhaps you don't feel worthy of it, or that you don't want to burden other people with your problems because you feel like you're drowning in that sadness. But I'm going to pull out messages from your spiritual guides and then from your loved ones or ancestral. Okay, the Eight of Cups, and let's see what your ancestors or loved ones have to say. Two of Cups reversed. Okay. Maybe there's more romantic connections here than I'm first picking up on. Well, with the Lover's card here, and then the Two of Cups reversed. Either your spouse has passed on, or someone might have recently lost their life partner, or someone they were really in love with. But the spirit guides you have as the Eight of Cups, and that's a moving away kind of energy, because something is no longer fulfilling. A relationship may have ended. And if it's not like someone passed or died, it might just be someone who left the relationship. But your spiritual guides are asking you to focus more on your own transformation, because the path ahead is going to be difficult. And the reason I say that is because this mermaid is going into the deeper depths and it's going to be incredibly dark here, but she's carrying her own light. So yes, it's going to be heavy. It's going to be troublesome, for the lack of a better word. But it's also a necessary departure and a potential for growth. It means you're leaving situations and relationships or friendships that have become emotionally unfulfilling. It's asking you to do a lot of personal growth. Like, ask yourself, who are you without this person in your life anymore? Do some heavy self-discovery, and emotional healing needs to be done to find a sense of purpose. You're moving away or they're asking you to move away from things that still carry disappointment or that you're exhausted from. Because whatever it is now, it no longer serves you. Like, you see how these cups are all floating around her? They're not for her anymore. So your spiritual guides are saying, move away. Move away and discover who you are now. With the Two of Cups here reversed, it really makes you think that this was a soulmate of sorts. But it didn't work out. Because this was a lack of harmony in the relationship. So they may be saying we may have been codependent on one another. There were uneven power dynamics. A lot of miscommunications. Or if you were in this relationship and you felt like something was incredibly off, a partnership that was one-sided, or a friendship that has gone like, maybe this friend wasn't even a friend at the end. You know how they say, like, keep your enemies closer, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. This person might have pretended to be your friend, or this person may have pretended to be a soulmate. Or maybe this was happy at first, you know, with these two intertwined here. But then it changed over time to become something unhealthy. Maybe pride got in the way, or ego got in the way. There were a lot of arguments and emotional turmoil. So your loved ones are saying, this was a falling out that needed to happen in a really like romantic relationship or close friendship, because it wasn't equal. So really examine the dynamics of this partnership that you were in. Were you being taken advantage of? Did you feel drained by whoever you were with? All right, so I'm going to grab to see any messages coming through. Boundaries. What does that say? Put a ring around yourself and your energies. Ooh, yeah, that definitely connects with everything else. Put a ring around yourself and your energies. Maybe you really needed boundaries, or be taught about boundaries. And at the bottom here, we've got new horizons. Old ways won't open new doors. Walk away from things that, you know, disrespected your boundaries. Walk away from things that took advantage of you or took you for granted. Because it doesn't sound like this person respected your boundaries. Change. I am excited about the new person I have become and want to share myself with you. Interesting. Maybe you are in the process of becoming that new person and you want to share yourself with this person who left your life. Or maybe whoever has passed on has changed, and wants you to realize that, you know, in this afterlife, I realized all the mistakes I've made. I don't know if it's a good idea to reconnect, though, even though they say I want to share myself with you, because they're saying to walk away. Your spiritual guides are saying to walk away. But you can always be excited about the new person that you're becoming. And though you want to share yourself with this individual, make sure that they're worth sharing yourself with, especially with boundaries here. Yeah. Be excited about who you're going to become because you're going to go through a process of self discovery, but be careful about who you share yourself with. And that's all I have for you, Pile 4. Thank you for being here, and I hope this message resonated with you. If it did, please let me know. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.